All right, honey, let's jump right into it because I know you're as nosy as I am when it comes to Hollywood drama. Ryan Reynolds, yes, the wisecracking superhero we all thought was squeaky clean, has the rumor mill spinning out of control. It started as a murmur but quickly turned into a roar. Apparently, Reynolds might be hiding a double life, and it could involve none other than Hugh Jackman. That's right, baby, our beloved Wolverine himself might be far closer to Ryan than we ever guessed. If you've been following the headlines, you already know we're talking about a lawsuit that has ballooned into a full-blown scandal. Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, they're all caught in the crossfire somehow. This isn't just some internet gossip, either, because lawyers and studios are poking their noses where they've never poked before. Let's peel back the layers and see if we're dealing with a run-of-the-mill Hollywood tiff, or a cataclysmic meltdown that could blow up careers left and right. Now, I promise to keep this part tight, because nobody likes a drawn-out recap. We've got bigger fish to fry. Here's the gist. Justin Baldoni, who's typically as drama-free as they come, filed a lawsuit that was supposed to be pretty routine. Then, out of nowhere, Ryan Reynolds got dragged in. People started whispering that Ryan might have flexed his Hollywood muscles to sabotage Baldoni's career. That's shady enough, but the real shocker was how Hugh Jackman's name got tossed into the ring, too. That's where the conversation turned from, maybe it's just a business spat, to wait, is there some kind of secret bond here that Ryan's desperate to protect? So the short version is, Ryan's in trouble, Baldoni's not backing down, Hugh Jackman's somewhere in the middle, and Blake Lively's name keeps popping up when it comes to conspiracies and hidden agendas. Ready for the juicy details? Let's break down Hugh Jackman's involvement, because this is where things start tingling with possibility. Hugh is typically the golden boy of Hollywood, charming, multi-talented, and scandal-free for ages. But suddenly, rumors say he's got a front-row seat to Ryan Reynolds' behind-the-scenes behavior. How? Turns out, Hugh might have witnessed or even participated in certain, let's call them questionable dealings that tie back to Ryan's attempt to keep secrets under wraps. And honey, that's not even the half of it. Right as these rumors started bubbling, Hugh Jackman announced his divorce, something that caught fans totally off guard. People can't help connecting the dots. Did the stress of being tangled up in Ryan's alleged manipulations contribute to that split? Or was Hugh under so much pressure, professional, personal, or otherwise, that it bled over into his marriage? We also can't ignore the more sizzling rumor. For years, there have been whispers about Hugh Jackman's private life, especially regarding his sexuality. He's brushed them off with a laugh, but now that he's possibly giving testimony or at least statements tied to Ryan's hush-hush issues, folks are speculating that there's more than friendly banter between these two men. Could the bromance have spilled over into romantic territory? Or is it just intense closeness that got misread by the public? Either way, the internet is on fire with theories. One thing's sure, if Hugh gets deposed and is forced to speak under oath, this scandal might blow wider than anyone imagined. Because once you're in a courtroom, jokes and deflections mean zilch. You've got to provide real answers. And if there's actual substance behind the rumors of a deeper relationship, the entire facade both men have cultivated could tumble. Now let's zero in on Ryan Reynolds himself, because whether or not he's controlling, comedic, or charming, the allegations are that he's the puppet master in all this. When you think of Ryan, you picture witty banter on social media, a playful marriage with Blake Lively, and blockbuster success in comedic superhero roles. He's the guy you'd invite to every backyard cookout for guaranteed laughs. But if the rumors hold any weight, there's a far more calculating side to him. Several insiders have suggested that Ryan might have tried to sabotage Justin Baldoni's career, allegedly blacklisting him from certain projects or using his studio connections to freeze him out. That's not something we usually associate with the seemingly lovable Deadpool star. But Hollywood is a place of illusions. If Ryan felt threatened, maybe he'd do anything to protect his brand. And threatened by what exactly? The biggest suspicion is that Justin Baldoni discovered something Ryan desperately once kept quiet, perhaps evidence of a deep emotional or romantic relationship with Hugh Jackman. Or maybe it's more about Ryan's marriage to Blake Lively not being as picture-perfect as the tabloids claim. Either scenario would push a star, especially one who's cultivated a family-friendly comedic image, to go on the offensive. Here's the real kicker. Lawsuits can reveal skeletons in the closet. Deposition transcripts, sworn testimony, subpoenaed documents, these are the things nightmares are made of for celebrities with secrets to hide. If Ryan's controlling streak is half as real as folks say, he's probably scrambling to bury any truth that could tarnish his multi-million-dollar image. Let's talk about the so-called bromance that the world adores. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have been trading comedic jabs online for years, setting the internet ablaze with delight. It seemed innocent, a pair of charismatic actors who'd found a goldmine in playful public rivalry. But after a while, fans started noticing that some of these jokes carried a weirdly personal undertone. You see, it's one thing to post a lighthearted jab about your buddy's coffee commercial. It's another to compare him to a spouse or drop hints about how deeply you connect. Observers have pointed out that Ryan gushes more about Hugh in interviews than he does about his actual wife, Blake. Sure, it could be comedic shtick, but there's a reason so many fans suspect more is going on. On the flip side, Hugh has rarely tried to quash this speculation. In fact, he's often fueled it, laughing, going along with the jokes, talking about how close they are. The pair's banter escalated from silly pranks to something that almost seemed like a playful romance narrative. Now, if that's a publicity ploy, it's a clever one, but if it's a cover for genuine closeness they don't want to label, then the jokes make a lot more sense. People talk about that moment they spotted meaningful eye contact, or that event where the two seemed inseparable. It might be reading too much into things, but as soon as the lawsuit put Ryan and Hugh in a potentially awkward legal situation, the rumor mill exploded with theories that their comedic dynamic was more smoke and mirrors than real rivalry. If it's all innocent, that's fine, but with depositions looming, fans can't help wonder if that next Q&A under oath will expose the truth behind the bromance. Of course, no Ryan Reynolds drama would be complete without mention of Blake Lively. She's half of what many call the perfect Hollywood couple. Witty, stylish, and oh so in love. At least that's the brand they've sold us on social media, where they roast each other's hairdos and share sweet family snapshots. But behind every brand is a carefully crafted story, and some insiders suspect Blake might be far more than just a doting partner. She might be part of a PR arrangement. The rumor goes like this. If Ryan is truly harboring a deeper connection with Hugh Jackman or anyone else, then having a beautiful, talented actress as your spouse keeps fans from suspecting anything's amiss. Blake benefits from this arrangement, too. Becoming half of the it couple draws in brand deals, endorsements, and a rock-solid standing in Hollywood. Plus, people adore her for her fashion sense and down-to-earth humor. It's a win-win unless, of course, the illusions crack. This is where Justin Baldoni re-enters the picture. Some say that Blake might have found emotional or more support with Baldoni, whether on set or through mutual philanthropic connections. If that's the case, Ryan could have seen Baldoni as a double threat. Not only might he know about Ryan's personal life, but he might also have gotten too close to Blake. Combine that with the possible sabotage claims, and you've got a recipe for the meltdown we're witnessing. Obviously, we don't have a front row seat to the lively Reynolds living room, so we can't say for sure if this is all staged. But you can bet that if depositions drag Blake into the hot seat, she might have to confirm or deny some juicy details. And let's be real, the public thrives on these kinds of confirmations. If one domino falls, the entire storyline could unravel like a cheap sweater. Now let's shine a light on Justin Baldoni, the so-called good guy, who preaches about compassion and vulnerability, especially around masculinity. Of all the folks who could wind up in a sensational scandal, Baldoni seems the least likely. Yeah, he's the spark that set this powder keg off. People ask, how did Baldoni end up holding such damaging intel on Ryan Reynolds? Possibly from direct observation. Maybe he saw interactions between Ryan and Hugh that raised eyebrows. Or he formed a deeper emotional connection with Blake Lively, discovering cracks in the Reynolds-Lively marriage that Ryan wanted sealed. There's also a question about Baldoni's motives. Is he simply defending himself in a lawsuit? Or is he using the courtroom as a stage to reveal Hollywood secrets? If Ryan or the studios blacklisted him in any way, Baldoni might have decided the only way to fight back is to go public. Once lawyers get involved, NDAs and hush money lose some of their sting, especially if the court orders full disclosure. Of course, if Baldoni doesn't actually have the receipts to prove these claims, he could come off looking like a bitter opportunist. But from what insiders are saying, he's not backing down. He's apparently standing firm, which suggests he feels he has enough ammo to hold his ground, even against a star as influential as Ryan. That's bold, especially in a town where stepping on the wrong toes can end a career. Perhaps Baldoni believes the truth on his side is bigger than any blackball attempt. Or maybe he's just fed up and ready to blow the lid off a giant charade. Look, Hollywood loves a juicy scandal until it threatens the bottom line. Ryan Reynolds is a box office darling, especially with that Deadpool franchise. If studio execs start thinking his brand might get tarnished by controlling tendencies, secret romances, or a sham marriage, they might quietly shift their marketing dollars elsewhere. After all, you don't want a massive superhero flick overshadowed by depositions about the star's personal life. Hugh Jackman isn't immune either. He spent decades building a rep as the lovable Aussie with an impeccable track record. If it turns out he's been hiding truths or was complicit in hush-hush dealings, that could sour the goodwill he's banked. And let's not ignore the Wolverine rumor swirling. Fans are excited to see if he returns in Deadpool 3. But who wants a big promotional tour overshadowed by personal scandal? Then there's Blake Lively, whose brand hinges on that down-to-earth, witty glamour. If the public starts believing she's part of an orchestrated cover-up, it might diminish her appeal overnight. People love her because she seems genuine, a cool mom who can crack jokes with the best of them. If depositions paint her as a savvy co-conspirator in a sham marriage, or if it emerges that she turned to Baldoni for emotional comfort, that brand is in trouble. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni could find himself either vindicated as a hero who stood against a Hollywood power player or condemned as a career saboteur. But with the rumor that he has actual evidence, the stakes are sky high. A-listers, studios, and fans are all holding their breath, because if he pulls out receipts showing Ryan Reynolds orchestrated blackballing or covering up personal secrets, that's the kind of bombshell that can topple even the mightiest tower. So here we are, standing at the edge of a scandal that could reshape Hollywood's power structures. Ryan Reynolds, once the undisputed champion of comedic charm, might be privately wrestling with bigger secrets than anyone imagined. Hugh Jackman's involvement suggests a possibly deeper connection that transcends the bromance jokes we've eaten up for years. And if you believe certain whispers, Blake Lively's role in all this might not be as innocent as her Instagram posts suggest. Justin Baldoni, meanwhile, stands like a wild card, ready to unleash truths that could shake the industry to its core. Of course, it's possible this is all smoke and no fire, that depositions will reveal nothing catastrophic. Maybe Ryan's just testy about an unflattering rumor, and Hugh's going through a divorce for mundane, everyday reasons. Perhaps Blake Lively truly is as genuine and witty behind closed doors as she seems on social media, and Justin Baldoni's lawsuit is just a big misunderstanding. Hollywood is filled with illusions, but illusions sometimes turn into real heartbreak and betrayal once the cameras stop rolling. In a world where multi-million-dollar franchises are on the line, no studio wants its lead embroiled in a public meltdown. That's why hush money, sealed court documents, and settled cases exist. Yet, the more the public senses a cover-up, the more they dig for the truth. And if Ryan, Hugh, Blake, and Justin find themselves testifying under oath, the entire script might flip. One wrong answer, one piece of leaked evidence, and we'll be in a front row seat to watch some of our biggest stars navigate a crisis bigger than any superhero cameo or red carpet reel. So buckle up, because even if these rumors fade for a moment, legal battles have a way of creeping back into the headlines, and we're all guilty of loving the show. By the time it's done, we'll either look back and laugh at how overblown this all was, or we'll have witnessed the downfall of a Hollywood power player. One thing's certain, we'll keep sipping on that tea until the very last drop. Thanks for supporting the Gossip Wire. If you made it this far in the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more of the hottest celebrity news online.